payoffs. Now, have you ever heard that term when someone said, so what's the payoff for doing something or having a certain behaviour? I love Dr. Phil. He's always saying, so what's your payoff? There's a payoff why you do what you do. And in what is it? He's always honing in on the person to say, why are you choosing that behaviour? What payoff are you getting out of doing it? And people often go, what? Why would I choose this? Well, you'd be surprised. There is often a payoff, and it's like someone that's overweight. They might say, I've been trying to lose weight and I just can't. I don't want to be this way. And Dr. Phil would say, well, you have a payoff. And I will say the same thing. There is a reason why you are doing that. Now, being overweight is quite a common one for people to protect themselves. Their payoff may be, if they've been abused as a child, they may say, trying to be more unattractive is their protection. It keeps them safe. And so keeping safe is better than losing weight. That's what their subconscious will say. And I had a client that she said she wanted to be noticed or valued or something, and she just was never getting that from males. It just not appreciated. And in the payoff healing is a scan list. So you can scan why they have the payoff. And for her it was to be invisible. And she said, but I don't want to be invisible. I'm wanting to be noticed. And then she started to visualize or go back into this past life of where she felt she needed to be invisible because there was a man, some sort of man there that was trying to seduce her or abuse her, or some sort of horrible feeling she started to go into. So she thought, I'll try and be invisible so he doesn't notice me. And this started to come to the surface as I identified why her subconscious, or why she did want to be invisible. And so it will bring forward the reasons why people do things. There's one, seeking sympathy. Like someone does a certain behaviour to get some sympathy. Maybe it's to be unwell. Some people learn as a child that the only way to get attention is to be sick. So the payoff being sick in their adult life is they get sympathy. They'll get some attention that they've been craving for. So these payoffs need to go because they're not working for people. Being sick doesn't work. Being invisible doesn't work. Or any of these other payoffs, fear of failure. So people avoid doing certain things because they fear to fail. So there's a good scan list of 1 to 28 options there to scan. What you will be doing is identifying the age of when this behaviour began. I think that's why we identify the age, to go back and hone in, get that detail. And then there's the payoff healing statements, and that's where the client makes a statement and you will also be making statements. And this will take you through a process, and at the end it will be, it's a final conclusion in the end. It's where the client says, let's say, I, Marisa, choose to reconnect to universal source and allow my divine essence to expand and flourish. It is my gift to be and live in my power. Now that last sentence there, is my gift to be and live in my power. It's a gift for anyone to be in their full potential. People can't be a gift to themselves or a gift to others when they're only half of what they can be, when they're hiding in the corner, or if they're, not being creative, not being abundant. The more powerful you are, the more you give to people, the more you've got opportunities to be part of society and make a difference and influence in many ways. That is why I put down that phrase, it is my gift, and it's also your gift, to live and be in your power. Because I will remind people, it doesn't help anyone, you being small, you hiding away, you carrying this. You are way more influential. You are way more able to bless others and yourself, because that is what you're here for. Because if you have negative emotions and negative patterns, then you keep on coming up against them, and life isn't much fun, it's not much joyful. And at the end of the statements, you need an energy shift to make sure that everything is completed, everything has integrated. And if you don't get the energy shift, you go back to your corrections and you find out what it needs, what energy is needed, or and if it needs another correction. So it's a fail-safe method to work through each of these corrections. Okay, so payoff healing. This is why you have a payoff for doing something. There's some reason why you might have a behavior that's not very constructive. And we find out why and what your payoff is. What do you get out of doing that behavior? Okay, so I test to see which one it is. So I've got 1 to 28, so I can count, or I can go in columns. So I can go first column, second column, third column, fourth column. Okay, so I didn't get one on that, so let me just go again. I'm going to go across. There it goes. It's in that second last column, 21, 22. 22 is wanting to be liked. Is that something that you feel you want? You want to be liked?
Yeah, at that time I was...
So hang on, let me find the age.
Oh, sure.
57, 50, 40, 30, 29, age 18. So maybe around that time. Normally your patterns still happen when you get older, but 18, what was happening in your life?
My boss was very strict person.
Okay.
And she was not nice to me.
Okay.
And
is that a stress on you? Not.
Yes, because I feel it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Stress.
But did you?
Yes.
So it's a stress on you if they're not liking you. Is that what you would say? It feels stressful to you if they're not liking you, and
she didn't like it. Anybody looks like it.
But some people handle it differently. So does that cause a stress on you?
I try to do my best. Yes.
Okay. So you try and do your best so she likes you. So the payoff is you'll do certain behaviours and maybe you'll do more than you should, or you give extra to be liked. That's your payoff. Is that what it would be like? You give more just so they can try and like you if they're not liking you? Okay, so that's your payoff. That's why you might do a lot of things, because you want them to like you. Okay? And that payoff doesn't always work, because no matter what you do, people are still going to be themselves, and you are giving so much and giving too much yourself. Instead of just saying, I'm going to stop trying to be liked and just be me. All right, so this is a good one. So if we found that out at the ID, we've done what it is. So now we've got to do the payoff healing statements. So I insert the words where it says, now repeat after me. I, Maria, choose to safely release.
I, Maria, choose to
safely release the emotional payoff for wanting to be liked.
To be liked.
Okay. In my DNA. Related to the age 18.
Related to the
age 18. Relax and accept that all is as it should be. Go to the place of understanding the reason for your emotional payoff. Send love to yourself and tell yourself this emotional payoff is no longer necessary. You can now free yourself by changing direction and leaving behind the old negative emotions and payoffs. Now that the need for wanting to be liked is lifted from you and white healing light purifies and washes over your entire body, visualize and feel this healing energy release the source of the payoff and for healing to flow through every cell. Connect to the feeling of inner peace and love for yourself. Now I can bring the arm back up and it says, repeat after me. I, Maria, choose to reconnect.
I, Maria, choose to reconnect
to Universal Source. And allow my divine essence.
I allow my divine essence
to expand and flourish. It is my gift.
This is my gift.
To be and live in my power. And I wait for the energy shift. Right. Okay, so energy shift. Next is the apply the Aura Cleanse Correction. I'm going to do it quickly because you've seen me do it before. Add a little bit of oil, and I cleanse Maria's aura, and it's cleaning out that negativity in relation to her payoff. So it cleans out all the emotional stresses and traumas and the emotional need that she has to always wanting to be liked. It always targets exactly where you started or what you began working on. And I just need an energy shift for completion. And there it goes. So time will tell down the track if you feel differently about making decisions of why you do things. You may not have that compulsion to please everybody as much, which then takes the stress off you and lets you just be you. So you can let us know. Yeah. Letting go. Now, how many people do you know hang on to things? This is also covered in the negative life patterns. There's a pattern saying letting go, which means that people struggle to let things go. They dwell on old things that have happened to them. They dwell on relationships. They dwell on the past, and they find it very hard to let go and move forward. So this category, letting go, is for them. If it comes up, it means that they're hanging on to something that's stopping them from going forward. And it even covers addictions. So addictions to cigarettes, alcohol. It's not that this person is not able to let go of that addiction and move forward. There's relationships. People hang on to old relationships even when they know they're negative. In theory, they know that it's not good for them, but they really struggle to let the ties go and move forward. There's a scan list up to 1 to 16 options. You can scan for what type of connection that this person has. Like it might be loss of material possessions. There's something that they may have lost in the past. They may have lost their house or lost something precious to them, and they're still hanging on to that from the past, which stops them from moving forward. I remember, it's very interesting, I had a client that came in and someone brought her, and she talked about how her first husband's family kicked her out on the street. It was in Europe somewhere, and that she had a daughter at that time, and they were basically thrown out on the street. And then she struggled and somehow made things work. And at this point, she was in Australia. And she talked about this as if it happened last week. And then the person who brought her said to me, that was 40 years ago. And it was happened yesterday. So healing that and removing that vivid memory that she kept on repeating to herself, she had hung on to, freed herself up for the future, and also bring it to someone's attention of what their story is and what they're hanging on to. Then they go, okay, now I realize I have to let this go. So when the easier it is to let go, the more we can do this and move and focus on what we do want, frees us up so much. So the letting go healing statements in the guide will be the client makes a statement, and then they put in what it is they need to let go of and at the age that it occurred, and then it finishes off with the practitioner, which is you, making statements for them and then making sure that you get an energy shift in the end. So this is kind of like disconnecting from whatever it is that they need to let go of. When it does come up, let's say an addiction, you find out what they're addicted to, because you need to get more specific and pop in the actual addiction. That might be like alcohol. So put that in when it comes up addiction. When it comes up relationship, put in which relationship it's in reference to. And if it's a couple, you can test. When you get the energy shift, it'll confirm that's the person, because they may go, it could be a few people. It could be, my ex-boyfriend or a girlfriend or something like that. Test to see which name goes in, and you'll get the energy shift to confirm which is the predominant one that needs to be released. Whenever in doubt, you can always ask, and if you get the energy shift, it confirms. That way you can't make a mistake. You just keep following through in that manner. So letting go, healing, this is about you holding on to stuff. Holding on to, it could be a relationship, to a person, or resentment, or hang on to pain, or being a victim, hatred, addictions. And if it comes up addictions, I would ask what type of addiction, or I'd just test. They might be addicted. So this is about letting go things that aren't working for you. We hang on, we keep the things to do, but this letting go of stuff that's not working. So test for one term. So I'm going to test, maintain the arm, and 1 to 5 to 6, need for love. You're hanging on, and maybe when you said at age 7 and 8, around that age, you said no one paid you any attention. Yeah?
Yes.
They didn't give you any love.
I didn't feel they gave me a lot.
Yeah. So what's happened? You've got this inner need for love, and that drives you.
Yes.
So let's ID the age of when this occurred. So we've got 57, 50, 40, 30, 29, age 18. So what was going on at age 18? Did you have any boyfriends?
Yes, I was with this boy. When
you met somebody?
17, yes, and I still was.
Okay. And what happened to the relationship?
I really want to marry with him.
Okay, and did you marry him?
Yes, after 3 years.
How did the marriage go?
Oh, it's so emotional, it's coming.
Is it emotional?
Yes, and because when we married after, very soon I realized he's not care about me.
Oh, he doesn't, after you realize you didn't care.
Yes.
So what this is saying is, when we can release this need for you to find love and instead give it to yourself, then the outside, you won't be driven to just try and fill yourself up with the wrong things. Because really inside yourself, you're actually saying, I feel empty and I feel unloved. And that really, although you think it's love, is drawing that very same thing to show you that again, that you are unloved. So we'll let that go, so that this need for you to find it outside of you, the love, is gone. And then you can just feel, I am love and I love me. And then it will change your relationships. It will change what relationships you draw to yourself. Okay, so that's what we do. We analyse, try and work it out, how it all fits. And Maria's been really good, because we're being able to pretty much fit every correction so far, because not always every correction's for everyone, but so far we've been able to fit them for you. So I'm happy about that, so you can get a good idea of piecing things together. So now I complete the letting go statements. So, repeat after me. I, Maria, now request the powers of divine light, divine blessings, divine healings, and divine source, to safely release, detach, remove, and disconnect all negative attachments and connections to the need for love. I now choose to free myself. And release. Let go. Of all negative cords. Attachments. Ties. Guilt feelings. To needing love. At the age 18. I choose to be free. And empowered in my life. And my choices. It is my gift. To be and live in my power. These negative attachments and connections are now dissolved with love and light. You are now free from this point forward. And I'm looking for an energy shift to complete that. How was that?
Hot.
Very hot.
Very hot.
Did you feel the energy moving on that one?
Yes.
Where did you feel it?
Everywhere.
Okay. Okay, so letting go that strong need. This was fantastic. Okay. Loss. This is a very powerful topic. Loss is about loss of soul fragments, loss of part of yourself in various situations. And the healing is called soul reconnection healing, because when you lose something, it's like you can lose part of you. So if this tests up to be done, it's like part of that person's fragment of their soul has been lost. Very powerful correction. I recall when I had this done after my inner child healing, I had the fragments being brought back, and it took a very long time to get through because it needed a lot of energy for me to bring them back. And I recall right at the end, it was like my heart was stabbed and I burst into tears. It was like I felt perhaps that missing fragment that had so much pain in it come back, and the pain I re-experienced. But after it, I felt so much peace. It's not common for people to feel pain. I'm the only one that I know that has experienced that. But I have heard people say they felt like pieces coming back, they felt whole, and they can get a little teary because it may trigger a little bit of that stress that occurred when fragments were lost. But it's not always. Everyone has a different experience. So this soul fragment or soul reconnection healing, very powerful. And there's categories that people can scan, that you can scan to find out why the fragments were lost. One of them can be, say, loss of job. That can be very traumatic for someone. Physical abuse, fragments and part of themselves get lost during that. Loss of freedom. Let's say you were jailed, or let's say you ended up being with someone that was very controlling, and like your freedom's gone. There's many reasons why that you may lose the fragments. So there's a scan list there where you can scan and find out why the client lost the soul fragments. There's also, right at the end of that scan list, is number 37, is kept soul fragments. So that means that you have someone else's, or the client has someone else's soul fragment. It was either given to them or they took it. Now, I had just recently an example of this. Had a client on the table, and she had this very negative connection with her father. But she couldn't let this go. Her father was always judgmental, critical, and caused an incredible amount of stress in her life. Even though he lived in the UK, he had this incredible ability to control her and to put her down. Through text messages, emails, and then coming over for holidays and staying at the house, and all sorts of problems. It has been the biggest negative influence in her life, yet she cannot cut him off, or she cannot say no, or it's something that she just for some reason cannot disconnect from. Anyway, I just did a healing on her the other day, and it came up. I said, got to give back a fragment. Now, it happened at the age 16. And she said, yes. And she said, that is when I attempted suicide. I was on the floor and my father found me. And he had to take me to the hospital. And it was like in that moment that he gave part of himself to her so that she could survive. It was like he gave part of his soul fragment. And it's like it's caused some sort of perhaps anger after with him, or this real agitated relationship. And so I did the healing, which is to return the soul fragment back to him. And after that, this incredible peace came over, and the relationship really stabilized, really shifted, and really changed. So really powerful, this correction, soul reconnection, whether you give it back or whether you bring yours back. And often it can be both. you test for which one that you need to do. So if it comes up number 37, which is a kept soul fragment, you use all the statements for return. And if it comes up for the soul reconnection scan list between 1 and 36, then that is the reconnection healing statements. It's all outlined in the guide which statements you use for bringing the clients back or for the client to return one. It's very clearly outlined, very powerful. Clients report they just feel like they're home, they feel like they belong, because that's many times people say, I just don't feel like I belong here. I don't feel part of this world, or I don't connect with people. And that's because they aren't all there, are they? And when you bring back all these fragments for the soul, you then complete, and then it makes it more easy for someone to find their soulmate, because how can you find your soulmate if all of your soul isn't there? So really profound, and let me know how you go with this correction. I'd love to hear about your feedback. And this is very sacred healing, this, and it's the fragments are actually brought back by the shamanic healers. It's an old tradition that they would do, that they're the ones that created this, are known to bring back fragments. So that is why we call upon the shamanic healers and their ancestors to assist with the return of these fragments. So have fun with it, and be in awe of just how sacred this process is. Okay, soul reconnection healing is about bringing back fragments of the soul that's been shattered in trauma and stressful situations. There's a scan list there which will identify what reason the soul was fragmented. There is one reason on number 37, and if that comes up, that means that you received a soul fragment or you took a soul fragment from somebody else, and that means that has to go back and be returned, which is called soul return healing statements. And all the ones prior to that, 1 to 36, is all about reasons why you've lost or the client's lost their soul fragments. So depending on which one shows will be dependent upon which healing statements you state for the client. So they'll either be the first one or the second one. They're usually the first one, because that's most common for people's soul to be shattered, or sometimes it can be both. But in this case, you'll find out when you scan. So what we do first of all is scan the list. So let's have a look here. So we've got 1 to 37. So I look on each column. Number has come up number 30, which is loss of future or loss of hope. So it'll be bringing back fragments for you. Now, the next was the ID age. So let's look 57, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 9. It's gone back to 8 in that traumatic time. Do you recall feeling like you had, like there was no hope, or the future looked grim?
Yes, I was very sad.
Very sad, yeah.
Very lost.
Very lost. Lost.
Yes.
Okay, so it's part of your time when your soul shattered in all the grief and trauma. Okay, so now we do the soul reconnection statements, which is the first statements for Maria. So I just repeat those. So I can pop your arm down, since we only talk through this, and you say, I, Maria, choose to safely release.
I, Maria, choose to be safe and released.
The source of my soul disconnection.
The source of my soul's connection.
Relating to loss of future and hope.
Relating to the loss of future and hope.
In my DNA.
In my DNA.
At the age of 8.
At the age of 8.
Okay, now this is my bit. Relax and accept that all is as it should be. Return to the time when the soul disconnection occurred. Now see yourself standing tall with white light surrounding you. Allow the trauma and stress to leave you. So when I can add information, if I can add a little bit more, you can be creative with these statements, because you can make it more designed towards the client. So I can say, and go back to that time of 8 when you felt lost and you felt there was no future and no hope. and allow that stress to leave you. So I can add a little bit of information there. Send love to yourself and open your hands for the return of your soul fragments. So just turn your hands out like that. I now call upon the shamanic healers and their ancestors to assist with the return of the missing soul fragments to Maria that occurred at the age of 8. Now the shamanic healers are known to bring back soul fragments, and I can feel it coming through. Imagine seeing and feeling the soul fragments return to you, and white healing light purify and wash over your entire body. Visualize and feel this healing energy return your soul fragments, and for healing to flow through every cell. Connect to the feeling of inner peace and love for yourself. Okay. I, Maria, choose to give thanks and accept the reconnection of my soul fragments.
And I
accept the reconnection of my soul fragments. I choose to reconnect.
I choose to
What's happening?
reconnect. It's just
What's happening?
very emotional.
Okay, what are you feeling?
Just vibrate my chest very strongly inside. And
Okay, so getting a strong vibration?
yes.
Okay. I'll say it for you then. So you just relax and I'll say it for you. And you can do this if the client can't. You can say it for them. I just say you choose. You choose to give thanks and accept the reconnection of your soul fragments. You choose to reconnect to Universal Source and allow your divine essence to expand and flourish. It is your gift to be and live in your power. Now I need an energy shift for this to release. Her body's now starting to bring back the fragments. Everything's starting to integrate. This is quite, it's been very traumatic in Maria's life, so we're really bringing back a part of her that's been lost for so long. And this may happen. You may get this effect. And I will know when I'm finished when I get the change on the arm. So I'm still waiting to get that shift. And I'm not getting it. And this is when you could go to your more assistance corrections and find out what other healing corrections she needs, which I'll have a look and see what we can do. More assistance. Kidneys. So I'm just going to get some energy over her kidneys. Okay, now I'm going to see if I can finish off, and there it goes. So her body just needed more energy for everything just to settle down and relax itself. How do you feel?
Dizzy.
Dizzy. Okay, yeah. I'm going to give you a drink and a pinch of sea salt to help you after that. And when they feel dizzy, the mineral balance is a good balance to do, which is all your electrolytes with the positions on all of the electrolytes. I'll give them a glass of water and some sea salt.